Hi everybody, and welcome back to Everyday a Project. Today we're going to be putting down an epoxy floor to help seal concrete in a small workshop I built. For this project I used Rust-Oleum Rock Solid Garage Floor Coating. There may be other, better products, but this is what my local big box store had, so it's what I bought. The first thing I did was swept up the concrete to remove any leftover bits of construction material like wood splinters and nails. Don't forget to get down inside the expansion joints of the concrete. Lots of stuff falls down in there, and we want to make sure we get it all out. Next, I ran the vacuum to get all the bits of dust off the concrete and out of the bottom of those expansion joints. I had a few spots where I dripped construction adhesive on the concrete during the building process. I used an old scrap chisel to scrape it up off the floor. According to the instructions on the box, I first needed to wet down the floor. If you try this at home, make sure to read the instructions carefully on whatever product you buy. Unfortunately, there was no water supply close enough to the building to use a hose, so I had to carry the water in a bucket out to the building. Concrete is very porous. If you spill any oil or chemicals on it, the concrete will soak it up like a sponge. You can see it happening here with the water. The water soaks right in after just a few minutes. Keeping this from happening going forward, and to make cleanup easy in the event of a spill, is why we're rolling on our epoxy floor today. I used a squeegee to spread the water evenly and ensure uniform coverage across the floor. The next step in the instructions was to etch the surface of the concrete with acid. They provided some in the package. I measured and mixed it up with water according to their instructions. I made sure to wear a painter's mask when working with the acid, as inhaling it can be very harmful to your lungs, and as you'll see when I pour it on the concrete, it releases a cloud of acid that would definitely be easy to mistakenly breathe in. I used a push broom to scrub the floor and move the acid around to get a nice even coat on the concrete. There's that acid cloud I was talking about. Always wear a mask. Here's a close-up of the acid reacting with the concrete where it pooled in the expansion joints. It's nasty stuff. Be careful when working with it. I wore long sleeves, full-length pants, a hat, and nitrile gloves in addition to the respirator. It did look pretty cool though, right? I continued the acid etch for the whole floor. It didn't take too long, and it was kind of fun to see the surface of the concrete change. Oh, and once again, I want to remind you to wear a mask. Here's the bag of epoxy, the decorative flake that came in the package, and an added traction mix I bought separately. The epoxy came in two parts, the epoxy and the hardener. They're in the same bag with a divider keeping them separate. I pushed down hard enough to break the seal and mixed both of them together in the bag. Once the two are mixed, I only have 45 minutes to complete the job before the epoxy hardens in the bag according to the instructions, so I have to move fast. I poured in the extra traction package and tried to mix it around. If I had it to do over, I wouldn't buy this product. It all ended up sinking to the bottom of the bag. It probably works fine if you stir it up in a bucket each time, but in the bag it really didn't work well for me. Next, I poured the epoxy on the ground in long 1 or 2 inch wide strips and then rolled them out evenly. I was careful to get all the way up to the edge of the wall with the roller. I threw out little bits of decorative flake as I went. I tried to leave about 8 inches along the edge of the newly epoxied area with no flake in it. That way, when I rolled the next section and overlapped, I wasn't rolling over top of the flake. Then I just repeated the process for the rest of the floor. I made sure to plan out which direction I was going to roll in beforehand so that I didn't accidentally paint myself into a corner. I did push the roller down into the expansion joints a little bit to try and get some epoxy down in there, but I wasn't really that worried about it because I'm going to fill that in using backer rod and joint compound later. Here at the end, the foam roller that came with the kit started falling apart on me and flopping around. It made it pretty much impossible to get a smooth surface on the last section I did. I recommend buying an extra foam roller when you're picking up your kit. It felt pretty satisfying shuffling out those last few flakes onto my new epoxy floor. For a first attempt, I think this came out pretty good. Well, there you have it. Another project completed. Now that you've seen me do it, I hope you try it for yourself. Until next time, I wish you enjoyment and success in all your projects.